Here we go.
And it's Barking come up with the tip after it wasn't won by either Kitenge or Powell. So Adebayo has the ball for Barking Abbey. After the outskirts gets it back to Adebayo, gets into the paint. Powell goes up against Kitenge, blocked by the big man for Charnwood College. And Harris pushing the pace for Charnwood. Sagna now with the ball, gets them into their half-court offense. Josh Lloyd, the other starter for Charnwood, in addition to those 4 that Mark mentioned before. Sagna gets to the basket, blocked from behind by Chris Feeney. Kapsulos inside, tough, no good with the left hand. Kitenge with the rebound. Kitenge going at Powell, spin move to the left, up and under with the right hand.
Well, they're 2 big boys out there on the floor, and they always enjoy competing against each other. Very familiar, and I know that's the best thing about this group of players, is they all know each other. They play either with or against each other throughout the year. They know they're talking on social media. It's going to be a nice little battle.
Adebayo has it for Barking Abbey. Looks to go coast to coast, has to come out. Feeney now calls for the screen. Uses the screen from Powell. Goes at Kitenge and gets the 2.
Nice little hesitation move there from Feeney on the drive. Managed to freeze the defense and slip a nice little underhand right layup in.
Kitenge across to Belak. Belak pulls up from deep. A little bit too much on it.
Joe Belak, great 3-point shooter. Definitely somebody who's not shy in shooting the ball from the perimeter.
Adebayo can't get the layup to go, but Powell goes motoring past Kitenge for the offensive boards. Harris now for Charnwood, the EABL North MVP. Kitenge, high post. Belak on the slip. And a foul is called.
Was a little grab there as Belak slipped the screen. He was held from behind, but on the floor, so it'll be baseline out of bounds.
Foul goes on Spyros Kapsulos. Harris inbounds to Sagna. Into the post to Kitenge. Kitenge goes at Powell, head fakes, up and under. Hosanna Kitenge, tough move for the big man.
A much improved big over the years. He's really leaving the Charnwood program better than he arrived, that is for sure. He's really improved his touch around the rim, and he's a scoring threat, a rebounding threat, but what his X factor is the energy and confidence he provides his group.
And Kitenge picks up the foul after the switch. The mismatch with Adebayo, who recognized it and went at him. Kitenge then just couldn't quite get out of the way, so his first personal foul. Subs for Barking Abbey. As Meliauskas heads to the bench, and Jonathan Brown checks in for his first action. 4 apiece. Just under 3 minutes gone in the first quarter. And Barking take their first lead with that second Adebayo free throw. Harris on the ball for Charnwood to Belak. Inside to Kitenge again. Kitenge goes at Powell, loses the handle, stripped away by Kapsulos. Kapsulos goes coast to coast, blocked by Niall Harris, who came out of nowhere.
Well, Niall Harris, he has that gamer type mindset. He's got great timing, and a big corner 3 from Joe Belak right there. But back to Niall there on that shot block. He comes out of nowhere. He's got great timing. He's got great anticipation, and that's something that really goes. He's a stat stuffer, but it goes under the radar and how good his game sense is.
Skip pass to Kapsulos, inside to Powell. Kitenge has to be careful on one foul already. Stands big and tall and gets the rebound. Sagna ahead to Belak. Belak thinks about the 3 after making 1 already. Lloyd will shoot one though. Lloyd no good, it goes long, rebounded by Bilak. A little bit overexcited on the pass to Lloyd, but he manages to corral it in. Harris pulls up with 5 on the shot clock. Niall Harris for 3. And Charnwood out to an early 10-5 lead. Adebayo to Brown. Brown, float game. Tipped in, I think that was by Powell.
Jonathan Brown, a tough guy to guard. He's got great foot speed. He's tough to contain when he's coming at you downhill. He's somebody to watch within this ball game, having a good year, both EABL and for Barking Abbey in National League action.
And a foul called on the floor. It's going to go on Chris Feeney. So Robin Bedford and Theo Hughes come in for their first action of the game. Adebayo and Powell head to the bench.
And that's another big boy coming in, Theo Hughes. And you don't lose much size when you can share the minutes between Nathaniel Powell and Theo Hughes.
And Hughes, I thought it was Hughes that picked up the initial foul, but it doesn't look like it is. So that one's on Spyros Kapsoulis, who picks up his second in the first 5 minutes. Lloyd to inbound. Finds Sagner. Sagner pulls up, heavily contested. And Hughes manages to gather the rebound. Finds Brown. Brown going straight downhill. Hits a stud, Niall Harris. Ball rattles around. Sagner comes up with it. Sagner looking to push the pace. Nowhere to release pass though. Kitenge pops out to the perimeter. And Kitenge is going to go at Hughes one-on-one, calling for Niall Harris to get out. Kitenge steps back into the long 2. Hosanna Kitenge.
Well, he's already showcasing his back to the basket, but also his face-up game there. And he feels good about these 2 matchups.
Theo Hughes bodying up against Kitenge. Did a good job of taking the contact into his chest and comes down with the rebound. Sagner now puts the jets on, gets into the paint. Out to Bilak, long on the shot. Sagner gets the tip on it though. And Bilak drives straight into the trees. Kitenge for 3. Long, Bilak's there again for the offensive rebound. Joe Bilak coming up big on the offensive boards.
He's a gamer and he's a winner. He loves to compete. He's one guy with a tremendous motor.
Sagner goes straight past Hughes on the switch. And it's a 7-point lead for Charnwood College. Bedford shaking and baking against Lloyd. Kicks out to Feeney. Kapsalos into Hughes. Hughes pulls up for 2. Gets the friendly roll on the rim.
Nice touch for the big fella. He's got a decent stroke for his size, and he can actually shoot it all the way out to the 3-point line, so you do have to respect that.
Kitenge fouled on the drive by, looked like Jonathan Brown. It is called for a blocking foul. And our first subs of the game for Charnwood College as Liam Johnson checks in for Joe Bilak. Ethan Dameron also coming in. Looks like it'll be for Hosanna Kitenge as he sits back down.
Again, you've got 2 teams that are extremely deep. They can continue to rotate. Similar to what we were talking about with the Charnwood women's team. There's not much range in depth in terms of talent level, so you're not losing too much when guys come in, which is always good to see.
Stephen Akpan there couldn't quite hold on to the rebound, lost the handles, and despite the best efforts of Adi Adebayo, he stepped on the baseline, so that will allow Hosanna Kitenge to sub out and Ethan Dameron to check in. It's going to be Harris to inbound on that baseline. Harris into Dameron. Dameron back out to Harris. Spin move by Harris into the body of Theo Hughes, and he gets the friendly drop.
Flips it up, heard the whistle, threw it up there, gets it to go. A nice friendly touch off the window.
Niall Harris, all-conference first team for the North, as well as winning that Northern MVP award. Averaged 19 points per game, 6.8 rebounds to go along with 3.2 steals and 3 assists as well. Doing it all from the guard spot. Pretty much a combo guard for Charnwood College, playing alongside Blaze Hadner. He can handle it a little bit, but also plays off ball as well. An absolutely stellar campaign for him so far.
Yeah, he's had a good couple of years. He's come through the ranks. He was Division III MVP last year, EABL MVP this year. So he continues to grow on his journey, but he's definitely a stat stuffer, versatile player.
Hughes setting what looked like a moving screen out to Bedford. Adebayo finds Feeney. Good defense by Charnwood, recognizing the 3-point threat of Chris Feeney. Hughes inside with the left. Nice pass from Adi Adebayo.
Yeah, let's talk about that young man. That is an extreme talent right there. You could see high-level player, thinking the game well.
Harris finds Dameron as he was falling on the little dump-off pass. And that's got to feel good for Ethan Dameron to see the ball going through the bucket on his first game back from injury. And what a stage to be doing it on.
Yeah, for sure. Coming back from a slight knee injury and first game back as a championship game. How about it?
Akpan to Adebayo, who pulls up for 3. No good. Rebounded by Dameron. Sagner going downhill, kicks out to Johnson, corner 3. No good. Rebounded by Hughes for Barking. Adebayo straight downhill at Greg Wild. Out to Feeney. No good. Long rebound though. Comes out to Adebayo. Back to Feeney. Ran off the line by the Charnwood defense. And Niall Harris strips it away from Chris Feeney. Greg Wild to the basket. And Wild got a little bit wild on his layup attempt as Adebayo came flying in for the block.
I think he was anticipating some contact there, and it wasn't quite happening, and he ended up maybe losing control a little bit on the finish as he did try to anticipate that contact. But timeout, 19-11 in the first 8 minutes as we head to the end of this first quarter. Charnwood with a nice healthy 8-point lead as we go.
And we did expect that this would be end-to-end basketball. Both teams getting good looks, actually. A couple of Barkins that you would expect to fall down just haven't. Chris Feeney is an absolute shooting threat out on the floor for them, so you can't keep giving him open looks like Charnwood have done already, but Barkin will be talking that over. Just talking about how they want to try and find better quality shots for them to not allow Charnwood out into their running game, which they've done so far.
Yeah, two teams that can really get out and score in bunches. If they get their transition game going for both groups, they're very tough teams to stop as soon as they get that confidence.
Early scorers Niall Harris and Hosanna Kitenge both with 6 apiece for Charnwood College. Down at the other end, Nathaniel Powell has 4 for Barkin, and then Theo Hughes also with 4. So Barkin going inside to the big men a little bit early on. But it'll be a Charnwood ball from the baseline. Liam Johnston to inbound. Throws it into Kitenge. Kitenge directing the offense. Guarded by Bedford. Tries to get the wraparound pass to Powell. Can't do it though. Kitenge goes up for the block. And he's called for the foul with the elbow. And that's going to be a second personal foul on Hosanna Kitenge.
It's an interesting one there. In that transition situation, you've got two choices. Do you get all the way back and in front, or do you go and time yourself with a shot block? Tough.
In that situation, you just have to read that you're already on one foul. So what's the best call to keep you on the floor? Because Kitenge is central to everything that Charnwood does, along with Niall Harris. And he's going to have to be careful now. I think there's a sub waiting to come in and get him, but you don't want him picking up a third while he's waiting for that sub. Sagner travels as he's trapped by Bedford and Powell.
Yeah, it was a nice little run and jump there just as Charnwood got the ball over the half court. You can see Bedford keeping in front, and then the bigger Nathaniel Powell coming over. And that's a tough guy to get the ball over the top of or through the gaps. He's a big body, big limbs.
Bedford on the ball for Barkin. To Akpan. Akpan finds Feeney again. Feeney wide open, short. Rebound comes up in the hands of Powell, who fades away. Can't get it to go. Ball is rattling around all over the place. Blaze Sagna comes up with it, finds Greg Wild. Dameron drives in against Powell. Travel called. Just got a little bit excited on the fake. I don't think he quite needed it. He was already going to his stronger left hand anyway. And Niall Harris checks back in for Blaze Sagna. But Dameron in that situation just needs to stay true to himself and go finish with his left hand. There's no need for the fake there.
Charnwood showing a little 2-3 zone here. The possession before as well. Trying to mix up the defense. Keep Barking Abbey guessing what they're in.
Adebayo pulls up over the screen for the free. Rebounded by Harris. Harris ahead to Johnson, to Wild in the corner. And Harris gets a hand to the rebound, but only can deflect it, as far as Chris Feeney, but then gets back on the other end. Gets the ball back. Johnson turns down the shot, finds Dameron. Wild to Harris. Harris gets into the paint. A lot of contact. Comes up with his own rebound. Goes up and under the left hand. Can't finish though. Johnson has it for Charnwood. Wild, corner free. There's only 7 on the game clock. Wild throws up a crazy hook shot. Adebayo comes down with it. 1 on the game clock. Has to shoot it. Basket is good. A big play from Adi Adebayo. And Niall Harris going to get Charnwood into their off-court offense. Lloyd now. To Dameron. Charnwood fans screaming for a foul as Harris curled. Dameron going at Powell. Tough move, even Dameron with the left.
Back into the zone for Charnwood. Oh no, matching up.
Free goes up, no good. Rebounded by Lloyd. Lloyd to Harris. Harris goes straight at Feeney. Sees Johnson on the cut. What a pass, what vision from Niall Harris.
Yeah, nice little penetration there and great movement from the bigs as the defense is engaged with Niall.
Meliauskas in the corner for free, no good. Rebound out to Johnson.
Barking have had a decent number of open look threes. Great pass over the top of the defense, good kick out.
Lloyd for free, no good. And Powell manages to gather the rebound in. Adebayo now for Barking Abbey. Guarded by Lloyd. Dameron jumps out. Mismatch for Adebayo. Dameron swipes at the ball. Wildly swipes at the ball. And that'll be on the floor. So it'll be Barking possession from the sideline. And Dameron's going to check out as Charlie Britton comes in for his first action of the game for Charnwood College.
Well, very impressive impact minutes there from Ethan Dameron, considering he's returning from injury in this championship game.
And Akpan and Britton wrap the ball up. It'll be a jump ball. Arrow points in the direction of Barking Abbey. So they'll get another chance to inbound from the baseline. Meliauskas finds Adebayo in the corner. Turns down the long shot despite being open. Johnson guards him closely. Harris now. Adebayo goes straight at Harris. And a foul is called on the floor, I believe. It's going to be on Niall Harris. Yeah, that's a tough call for him. It looked like he got back in front, but referees have a much better view than we do up here.
Yeah, it's also a tough man to keep in front, Adi Adebayo. Very silky smooth. The ability to put it on the floor and get by people. He's tough, long, rangy, athletic.
Meliauskas falls down on the jump shot attempt. Belak in the corner, goes at Powell. Belak gets the shot up onto the rim, comes back off his back. And that's going to be a Barking Abbey ball. With 50-50 on the way out. But Josh Lloyd touched it last. Meliauskas has been warned for flopping on that last jump shot. Very over-dramatic warning, if I might say so myself. But A warning all the same, so Barking have possession of the ball in Adebayo's hands. Inside to Jonathan Brown in the high post. Maliauskas out in the corner. Drives into the chest of Joe Belak. Brown finds Feeney, doesn't need time or space to get one off. Can't find it though. Adebayo. And Feeney is blocked baseline off the dump-off pass from Adebayo. Foul's going to go on Joe Belak. That's Joe Belak's first personal foul. Charnwood now on 3 team fouls for the quarter. 23-14, 7 minutes 37 left to play. Charnwood just need to look at and be careful of how they're playing defense without fouling. Because they're getting a little bit handsy, reaching in, looking for blocks. And what you don't want to do is be in team fouls for a long period of time heading into the half-time break as you have a small lead at the moment.
Well, I'm sure Barking Abbey will be fully aware of that. I expect them to continue to be aggressive and try and maximise the opportunity to go as long as possible of this quarter in team fouls and earning the charity stripe. Free throws.
So Feeney made both at the line, lead down to 7. Belak on the ball, back to Lloyd. Belak comes off the flare, turns down the jump shot, inside to Britton. Can't finish over the taller Powell. And Barking Abbey have the rebound. Feeney fakes, drives baseline. Adebayo, nice ball movement from Barking. Back out to Feeney. Short, but somehow manages to grab his own rebound. Powell into Feeney. Swarmed by both Johnson and Lloyd. Out to Meliauskas. Meliauskas blocked by Lloyd. And Harris has the ball. Harris goes downhill at Adebayo. Tries to go up and under, but can't get it to go. Belak comes to a jump stop, but throws the ball out of bounds. And Charnwood just need to settle down slightly on the offensive end. Looks like they're rushing things a little bit too much. Hughes checks in, Powell heads to the bench. And that's going to be a tough cover for Charlie Britton now.
Yeah, Charnwood staying in this zone. So it kind of eliminates the 1v1 post play a little bit. Barking trying to find a way to puncture it and get some wide open looks.
Hughes throws it straight out of bounds on the double team.
Yeah, quick trap in the short corner there from Charnwood, and Theo thought his player was still in the same spot. He'd actually moved, and he ends up throwing the ball into the first row.
And we have a timeout called for Charnwood College, and no doubt that'll be head coach Will Maynard just trying to settle his team down on the offensive end, but also looked like he was getting Sagna and Dameron back into action. But so far so good for Charnwood College. Barking on the other hand are finding open looks. If you think about the amount of open looks Chris Feeney has got, he's a dead-eye shooter as well. You can't keep giving him those open looks, but the Charnwood defense so far holding Barking to just 16.
Yeah, good job from them. But Chris Feeney, as you said, he is one individual that you do have to keep an eye on. You do have to locate him at all times. He's good in transition moments for the 3-bomb, and he's also, you got to locate him as he's moving around it against the zone. He can easily throw up a corner 3 or movement on the wing, and he is somebody that they do have to keep an eye on, even though he's not particularly shot the ball well so far. Like we have talked about, he can put them up in a hurry.
Both teams retaking the floor. And for the first time, Ade Adebayo and Jonathan Brown both on the floor at the same time, sporting some headgear, shall we say, that seems to be all the trend in the NBA lately. Interesting choice of colours as well. But I'm sure head coach Lloyd Gardner won't mind if they play well and play to their potential. It'll be whatever you need to do, boys. Dameron now guarded by Hughes, tries to thread the needle backdoor to Harris. Slows the transition though. Adebayo, maybe not, as Adebayo goes coast to coast. Finds the gap, gets the rack and the foul.
Yeah, he's a very, very talented young man, and you can see that's probably his biggest strength. The opportunity for him to get downhill at speed. He has great body control, tremendous handles, and a nice soft touch. And that's definitely one of the strengths in his game, that transition opportunity.
That foul called on Josh Lloyd, and Adi Adebayo trims the Charnwood lead to 4.
A little run and jump from Barking there.
Sagner turns down the 3, pulls up in a tough contested 2. Lloyd gets a hand to it, but was the last to touch it. And in those situations, surely you want someone like a Blaise Sagner who can shoot the ball from range to just let it go, rather than looking into a dribble into a highly contested shot. Have trust in your jumper. It's an open look. It's what we're looking for as a team. Why not take it? Adebayo goes straight down the middle of the zone, finds Meliauskas for free. In and out. Tapped out of bounds by Bedford, who crashed the glass hard.
Well, Charnwood continuing to sit in that zone as Hosanna Kitenge is about to check back in on 2 fouls, something to be aware of. But they are sitting back in that zone and daring them to shoot the ball, trying to probably eliminate the 1v1 action in the certain matchups.
Harris goes at Adebayo, goes straight by Adebayo, takes a lot of contact. The referee deemed it was legal, and Adebayo goes at the other end. And Kitenge takes the charge.
Oh. That's a big call. Could have gone either way. Could have been a block in his 3rd personal foul, but was in position, was there, standing nice and tall till the contact in the chest. Offensive foul.
I think in the process, head coach Lloyd Gardner got a warning there, and there it is. That's a technical foul. He had his warning. It's a technical for head coach Lloyd Gardner, so Niall Harris will head to the line for 1 free throw before getting the ball back. Makes the free throw at the line. Chalmers lead out to 5. And Lloyd Gardner obviously upset about that charge call, wanting it to be the 3rd person on Hosanna Kitenge. Could have gone either way. But great play by Kitenge to get his body back in front. And Harris now comes off the screen from Kitenge. Sagner no outlet, gets it to Kitenge. Kitenge shaking and baking, tries to go at Hughes.
Yeah.
And a double dribble is called. And a technical this time called on head coach Will Maynard.
Well, that's an interesting one because Hosanna probably thought that he got the ball poked away there, but obviously the ref disagreed and called him for the double dribble. Coach Will Maynard shared his frustration with that call and ends up taking the technical. So we're 1 for 1 in Coach T's. Both coaches have to be careful now not to pick up a second one and have to leave the ball game.
That being said, we have some high-quality assistant coaches on the bench for both teams as well. James Veer for Barking and Krumesh Patel for Charnwood. Is Adi Adebayo from long way out.
I think he was in the car park for that one. Way downtown.
And it's now just a 1-point lead for Charnwood College. Harris uses the screen from Kitenge. Comes to a stop. Sagner to Lloyd. Back to Sagner. 7 on the shot clock. Kitenge steps back on Hughes for the fadeaway. Doesn't even hit the rim. Adebayo catches it going downhill. Charnwood do a good job of getting bodies back in front. Brown to Hughes. Hughes no good at the front of the rim. And Charnwood got let off there.
Yeah, there was a lot of contact on that drive there from Theo. Thought I was going to hear a whistle call.
Sagner to Belak, corner 3. Belak no good. Brown pushing the pace for Barking Abbey. Brown banks home the layup.
And that is Jonathan Brown's strength. He's another guy that you don't want to see coming at you downhill at speed. Very good in transition player.
Kitenge low post now. Goes at Hughes, goes up and under again. Foul called. Foul's called on Meliauskas.
Yeah, good job there from Hosanna in staying composed and patient and really using his pivot foot to get the defense off balance and was able to get a shot off.
And Barking's defense really coming to play in this second quarter, holding Charnwood to just 9 points. 6.5 minutes so far.
Yeah, definitely ramped it up a little bit here as the game was starting to creep out, and I think Charnwood got up to a six-point lead. And they've managed to bring it all the way back and take the lead up one. And Hosanna Kitenge at the line. He's heading off to Coastal Carolina next year, taking his talents over to the NCAA ranks.
And Kitenge splits the free throws to tie the ball game up at 25 apiece. Adebayo good with the layup.
A very shifty young man. He's got real good body control, and the way he's hesitate and go, he's tough to cover.
Stripped away by Bedford. Bedford's going to go at Kitenge. Finds Feeney. Feeney for two.
You can feel a shift in momentum here. Nice little run for Barking. You got to look after the basketball. A very good transition team, especially points off turnovers. Can't be doing too much of that for Charnwood.
Sagner inside to Kitenge. 7 on the clock and a pushing foul called. It's going to go on Nathaniel Powell. It's Barking's third team foul. Powell's first. Ball's been handed in. Lloyd pops out for the free. Belak drives baseline, goes up and under. Ooh. Nice move, Joe Belak.
That's what makes him dangerous. He's definitely not shy to shoot the three. So guys aggressive on his closeout. That time taking advantage. Nice little dipsy-do up and under for two.
Bedford drives, gets to the front of the rim, no good. Powell somehow manages to get an offensive board and a shut up. And a foul called on Bedford as Harris was looking to push the pace. That'll be the fourth, so both teams in the penalty from this point forward. And Charnwood College going big with Ethan Dameron and Hosanna Kitenge both on the floor now. Adebayo's going to go and guard Dameron. Point guard for Barking Abbey matching up with the 6'10 Ethan Dameron.
Well, I can see Tom Sawulu just checking in. He's gone to the table to sub in, and I'm sure they'll mix up that matchup.
Sagner for free, and Charnwood retake the lead.
Big three-pointer there, had his feet set, jumped up, knocked it down.
Feeney to answer at the other end. No good. Kitenge smothers the rebound. Kitenge with a head of steam, back to Sagner. Sagner now goes baseline. And referee calls a foul, but Sagner will go to the line and shoot two.
Well, that was a good response there from Charnwood as Barking Abbey were starting to gain some confidence and get some momentum going. Charnwood were able to respond with a big three from Blaze, and here he is again with a nice drive, earning the right to the free throw line, but misses the first.
And in the meantime, Charnwood just tactical substitution as Charlie Britton comes in the game. Hosanna Kitenge on 2 fouls. He's protected, but is sat at the front of the top of the bench, so whether they go offense, defense with Kitenge for the last 1 minute 30 of the half. Bedford on the ball for Barking Abbey though. Finds Adebayo, goes over the screen from Powell. Feeney in the corner. Adebayo now into Powell. Sawulu just in, short corner, no good. Rebounded by Britton.
Close the door.
Sagner into Dameron. Dameron finds Belak on the baseline cut. Nice pass from Ethan Dameron. Good vision displayed by the big man.
Yeah, great passer of the basketball for his size. He has an awesome vision.
And he taps it away at the other end. And almost puts Adebayo in the mixer as Charnwood Charnwood execute the transition offense to perfection, and head coach Lloyd Gardner wants to talk it over with his Barking Abbey team. Charnwood back out to a lead of 6.
Yeah, you talk about one team. They're two very similar teams, so any situation where there is a turnover or a bad shot or a long rebound, both teams very good at scoring in transition. So really have to value the ball, try and make the opponents take the ball out of bounds so that you force them to be a half-court team, because both teams so dangerous in the open court.
50.9 seconds remaining. Charnwood have that 6-point lead, 35-29. And after a slow start in the quarter, Charnwood have answered right back. They were held to up to just 4 points for 6.5 minutes. But they've gone on a tear in a 5-minute period where they've put another 12 on the board to put them up in the quarter 16-15. So far have extended their lead, which is all you can ask for as a coach in each quarter. And I'm sure that's something head coach Lloyd Gardner would have been talking about in that timeout. Is, all right, guys, we've got 50 seconds here. We need a couple of stops, a couple of scores. Let's trim this lead and try and get in as close as possible when we get to halftime.
Yeah, it'll be good for them to have it as a one-possession game heading into the locker rooms.
Feeney on the ball. Adebayo run and jumped. Sawulu has it. Back to Adebayo. Finds Feeney. Powell in the high post. Goes at Dameron.
That's just what you need. A nice aggressive attempt at the basket. Nice easy layup for the lefty Nathaniel Powell there.
Harris on the ball. 5 seconds separating the game clock and the shot clock. Dameron short on the jumper. Bedford comes down with it. Barking are going to have time for one more possession. Bedford gets into the paint, finds Feeney. Back out to Bedford. Drives in, loses the ball. And with 2.6 seconds, Charnwood College are going to take a timeout. So up 4, 2 seconds. They have an opportunity to get a catch, dribble, shot.
Well, it was almost perfect there for Barking. They scored right out of the timeout, got a stop. They had 19 seconds to try and trim it to a one-possession game. Unfortunately, turned the ball over, and now they'll be desperate to get a stop here to avoid Charnwood heading into the locker room with that little bit of momentum. A buzzer beater score here could be a backbreaker as the teams head in.
So far, it has been punch for punch. As Charnwood have gone on runs and Barking have answered, and then when Barking have gone on a run, Charnwood have answered. So back and forth basketball, 35-31. We didn't expect it to be anything other than what it is at the moment. Points-wise, looking at scorers, it's been a balanced affair for Charnwood College. Bilak, Harris, and Kitenge all on 7. Adebayo, after a quiet first quarter, has 11. So we get ready to head into the halftime break. A big answer from the talented point guard.
Well, you can see why these two teams are on this stage and had both tremendous seasons, great runs in the knockout competition. But here we go.
Harris has to get it up from the half. Oh, no good. And welcome back to the University of Essex, where the EABL championship game is underway between Charnwood College and Barking Abbey. Charnwood College getting us back underway. And an early foul, 12 seconds into the quarter on Adebayo. Harris with it, finds Bilak on the backdoor cut, can't quite handle it though, and Feeney comes up with the ball for Barking. But if we have more of the same that we had in the first half, I think we'll both be happy, and everyone in this building will be happy, because we've been treated to a great first half of basketball action so far. Feeney pulls up for 2, gets it to drop.
Oh, yeah, he's one guy you don't want to get going. He's obviously missed a couple in the first half, but like we've talked about, very capable of getting his three-point weapon going, and you don't want to let him get too many easy ones to get his eye in.
Harris going at Feeney, kicks out to Bilak. Bilak for free, in and out. Capsulis at the other end. Adebayo pulls up for two. Drains it, ties us up at 35 apiece.
Big time shot there. Behind the pick and roll, was able to shoot it. Unfortunately, his toe was on the line, so it'll be a long two.
Bilak hands off to Sagna. Sagna uses the screen from Kitenge. Sagna's lane blocked off by Jonathan Brown. And that one's on the floor, so it'll be a Charnwood ball. On the baseline, Harris to inbound. Bilak pops to the corner. Bilak gets to the rack and one.
Tough take from Joe Bilak. Managed to turn his body in the air through the contact. Gets it to go off the glass. Head to the stripe for the bonus point. Just to bring you up to speed with the stats, where guys are at. Obviously, Adebayo leading the way for Barking Abbey. Gets himself at 13 points. Chris Feeney, 8 points. And he's ready to explode for a big game if he starts making some threes. And for Charnwood, it's been pretty shared affair. 9 for Bilak, 6 for Sagna, 7 for Harris, 7 for Kitenge, 6 for Dameron. So they've been sharing the workload in the production.
Feeney long on the three-point attempt, rebounded by Charnwood. Big rim run from Kitenge. Manages to keep a hold of the ball.
Literally a big rim run. That is a big boy. Steam train coming down the floor.
Kitenge in the post. Goes at Powell, fades away. Back rims it, and it's rebounded by Powell. Brown penetrates, hits the chest of Lloyd, kicks out to Feeney. Feeney again can't get the free ball to drop. And you can see Chris Feeney starting to get a little bit frustrated with himself. Sagna foul called on the floor. And that's going to be the 4th team foul on Barking Abbey in 2 minutes and 18 seconds. So they have 7:42 left to go.
Feeney just can't get one to drop right now. You can see the frustration building.
No good for Lloyd. Lloyd. Referee's whistle is foul called on Josh Lloyd for holding.
Charnwood going back into that zone. Going to continue to dare Barking Abbey to make the three-point threat.
Spooner kicks out to Brown. Brown drives in, finds Powell.
Nice pass.
And there's Brown to clean up the miss, showing off the athleticism.
Great possession there from JB. The ability to find his open teammate and then follow up the miss.
Harris doesn't get the shot to go. Almost manages to rebound his own miss. Brown pushes the pace at the other end. And another whistle. Foul is called on Blaise Sagna.
Well, referees being very tight. The contact on the drive, the guys with the ball on the floor, they're definitely blowing the whistle for any hand checking or pushes with the body. You can definitely say whether you like the call or not, they're definitely being consistent with it.
Bedford to inbound for Barking Abbey. Throws one up to Powell. Powell's going to go at Kitenge. And gets Kitenge with his own move almost. And Bedford's there to clean up the miss. Barking Abbey go back in front by 2.
Good pivot series there from Nathaniel. Squeezed his way up. And you can see now that's the guards for Barking Abbey getting in there and crashing the glass for the putbacks.
Bilak, spin move. A little bit too much on the layup, gets his own boards. Sagna pulls up for 3 immediately. Harris gets the rebound. Jump ball called. And the arrow's pointing in the direction of Barking Abbey. And Coach Will Maynard not happy with his team's effort on the glass.
That's that rebounding we were talking about. So you can see he's emphasizing it now. They got it boxed out, the crashing guards.
Powell almost loses the handle. Bedford guarded by Wild. Brown pulls up from deep. Jonathan Brown for three. And Barking's lead now out to 5 points. Charnwood College need to find an answer. Kitenge, low block. Fades away again against Powell. Nathaniel Powell doing a great job of just standing big and tall. Spoulas stripped, ball falls into the hands of Nathaniel Powell, and just like that, it's 7 points.
No, that one looked like the ball kind of popped away there and found his way to his teammate Nathaniel Powell, so almost a basket by default, but they all count. Nice little finish from Nathaniel, still had to do his job and pop it in.
And that last foul is going to be the 5th team foul for Barking, so with 5.5 minutes remaining in the third period, they're going to be in the team foul. So Blaze Sagner will head to the line to shoot 2.
That's a good situation here for Charnwood with half the quarter left to go. If they can remain aggressive, they can chip into this lead with the time stopped. If they manage to get to the free throw line.
Sagner makes both, and the Barking lead is trimmed to 5. Foul called on Kitenge, who doesn't need to reach in there. And that's a 3rd team foul and a 3rd foul personal for Hosanna Kitenge.
Yeah, they're the ones as a coach a little bit frustrated. Maybe it was slightly avoidable, especially in his situation, and knowing
Offensive
that
foul called.
3 fouls is a big deal, because if he picks up that 4th, especially early here, he's definitely going to have to take a seat and be protected.
Offensive foul goes on Nathaniel Powell, his 2nd of the game. And this could be a big possession for Charnwood as they continue to chip away at Barking's run. Harris has his lane cut off by Feeney. Harris finds Sagner. Sagner thinks about the 3, gets to the basket for 2.
He's got a nice little shot fake as Blaze. He sets himself well, lowers his butt, and puts the ball high, just freezes the defense. Then he's got that speed to put it on the floor and get to the rim.
Feeney turns down the open 3, and Kitenge. Oh, I thought Kitenge had been called for the foul there. That would have been a huge possession. Instead, Feeney's called for a travel. So Charnwood getting 2 big stops when they've mattered most.
Opportunity to tie it up here, or bring it to 1.
Sagner puts it on the floor, goes at Bedford, kicks out to Johnson, thinks about the 3, turns it down. Wild doesn't need to think about it. On the back of the rim and rebounded by Bedford. Bedford for Barking Abbey. Feeney into Powell. Powell goes straight at Kitenge. Lefty hook is good.
Nice little baby hook there from Nathaniel. Gets the lefty to go. And interestingly, Charnwood back to that man-to-man defense. Maybe a little bit scared of the offensive rebounding from their guards of Barking Abbey.
Johnson called for a travel. Just lost a little bit of possession of the ball. And Johnson didn't want to give up the basketball. The referee's straight in to tell him he probably should do.
We'll have none of that, thank you, says the official.
Bedford. Still with Bedford, drives baseline. Out to Feeney. Feeney uses the screen from Powell. Kitenge jumps straight out of it. Kapsulis! And the Barking lead to 8, the biggest lead of the game for Barking Abbey.
Oh, finally, 3 drops. That's only their 3rd one, and a strip from Nathaniel Powell. An easy breakaway dunk, and that's forces Charnwood into the timeout.
And a 10-point lead for Barking Abbey as they have turned up the defensive pressure. And let's not get it wrong, they've turned up the defensive pressure without Ade Adebayo on the floor with those 3 personal fouls. So he's only going to add to their defensive pressure. Holding Charnwood so far to just 6 points in the quarter.
Well, both teams have been out to a 10-point lead, but this is the first time for Barking Abbey to jump out to the 10-point lead, and we'll see how Charnwood responds coming out of this timeout.
Looking at scorers for Barking Abbey, with Ade Adebayo on the bench with 13. Nathaniel Powell has got himself up to 10 points and 9 rebounds. Kapsulis with that huge free, his first bucket of the game. And what a time to get it, to stretch that lead all the way out to 10.
Yeah, big shot.
Whereas on the flip side for Charnwood, 9 for Belak, 9 for Harris. Those two doing their best to try and keep Charnwood in the game. Sagner also on 8. And it will be Sagner who has possession of the ball for Charnwood College.
Barking into a little 2-3 zone here, mixing it up.
Wild.
And gone into the man, shown a zone, gone into the matchup.
Sagner gets into the paint. Foul called.
And again, whether you like the call or not, they have been pretty consistent with it. The contact on the drive, the push, or the hand checking, they have been calling it. And players have to adjust that. Defensively, you have to feel how the referees are playing the game.
That foul, the 4th on Robin Bedford. They also have 4 on Jonathan Brown, which kind of went under the radar. So Ade Adebayo is going to check back in for Barking Abbey. As Blaze Sagner splits his free throws at the line.
Robin Bedford heads to the bench there. He's like, Coach, what can I do better? You tell me. Thought he was playing good defense.
Adebayo to Feeney. Charnwood showing a 1-3-1 zone. And foul is called on Greg Wild on the floor. That'll be Charnwood's 4th, so any more now, and they'll be in the bonus.
Well, that was the spot where he just hit a big 3, so running him off the line.
Belak checks into the game as Wild heads to the bench, stripped away from Barking Abbey. Charnwood come up with the ball. Harris has it. Sagner trying to get it into Dameron. Kitenge has it, goes at Powell. Kitenge, tough move, can't get the layup to go. And it's corralled by Meliaskas. Adebayo inside. Kapsulis steps back.
Oh, tough shot. That's his defender on the roller skates there a little bit. Tough step back too.
Sagner nowhere to go inside. Wants the contact, but the referee said no. And Charnwood just need to be careful here as Kapsulis throws up with the 3. And that's 2 big shots from Spyros Kapsulis.
Charnwood desperate for a response here. There's still a lot of time left in this quarter. They need to chip away, but this isn't going to help. And that's a turnover and an unsportsmanlike foul as is the last man. So that'll be point and possession.
And Barking celebrate that as if that's a game-winning play. They know the importance of some of those plays, but at the same time, Lord Gardner might want them to just be a little bit stable with their emotions, not get too ahead of themselves. 14 points is the biggest lead of the game, but Feeney misses the first line. It could change like that. This Charnwood team has the ability to fill it up, but so far they just can't answer back to the run that Barking Abbey are on that's been fueled by their defense.
Yeah, you can see the body language of the Charnwood guys right now, that they're urgent to get going, but they're a little bit flat, and the bench needs to get into it and provide some energy, and they need to respond right now 2 minutes, another quarter, 12 minutes, a long way to go.
Flynn Boardman Raffet in for his first action of the game for Barking Abbey. And Feeney steps out of bounds as Boardman Raffet knocks down the triple straight off the bench, but it doesn't count. And that would have been a backbreaker for Charnwood.
That would have been.
Sagner to Kitenge. Kitenge screaming for the handoff with Harris. Loses the dribble, manages to keep it. And Hughes deflects the ball. Kitenge asking for the foul, but he's not going to get it from the referee. 7 on the shot clock. Barking's lead at 15. Kitenge catches, has to go quickly. 6 on the clock. Skip pass to Bilak in the corner, who shoots it. Doesn't get the roll. And that would have been a big time shot for Charnwood College. Feeney shaking and baking. Kicks out to Meliauskas. Drills the triple.
Big third quarter here for Barking Abbey. Chris Feeney now getting into the paint and being the playmaker guy, finding his open teammates on a penetrate kick.
Harris finds Kitenge inside for easy 2.
Nice.
And they need more of that, Charnwood. They need a little bit more in and around the basket. Their body language right now isn't showing that they believe that they can do this. 10 minutes still to go. Showing that 1-3-1 defense again. Boardman Raffet to Meliauskas. Feeney for 3. Feeney gets his free to go, and what a time to hit your first triple of the game.
Confidence is an amazing thing in basketball, and right now all the confidence is with Barking Abbey, all the momentum with Barking Abbey.
Kitenge skips to Harris. Harris drives baseline, goes up. Doesn't get the layup to go. 16 seconds, so Barking could have the last shot of the quarter. Meliauskas out to Feeney. Feeney calls for the screen. 5 on the clock. Comes off the screen from Hughes. Gets it to Hughes. And Hughes no good on the layup. And that'll be it for the end of the third quarter. Barking fighting. Lloyd back in the game. Inbounds to Harris. And Charnwood have 4 shooters on the floor now with Ethan Dameron at the 5. Bilak comes off the flare, decides not to shoot it, drives into the paint, takes the contact from Hughes.
Tough little finish there from Joe Bilak.
And that's exactly what you want to start the quarter, is the ball going through the basket. Just fueling your defense now. But all right, let's get another stop and another score. Kapsulis, and there's that stop.
That was definitely a bit more defensive intensity there from Charnwood. Coming up with a stop. Blaze Sagner for 3. It's short.
Kapsulis goes at Bilak. Offensive foul. And that's 3 straight stops for Charnwood College. Joe Bilak puts his body on the line.
Well, that's what they need. Needed a big start to this quarter. And 3 stops will build the energy and that confidence that we talked about.
Sagner. Hughes jumps the screen, gets back to Dameron though. Dameron this time slips the screen. Sagner goes 1v1 and a foul is called. It's going to be on the floor. And that one's on Meliauskas, his 2nd of the game.
I don't think there can be any complaints there.
Bilak gets out to the corner for 3. 2. Yeah, 2. Oh, 3. No, one referee said it was on the line. The other said 3. He's gone with the 3.
Quick 5 points there for Joe Bilak.
Kapsulis into the corner, top of the backboard, rebounded by Dameron. Dameron, nice outlet pass to Bilak. A lot of contact on the catch. Referee says it's a 50-50 ball. Feeney has it for Barking. And a 3-second call for Theo Hughes. And head coach Lloyd Gardner is going to answer by bringing Ade Adebayo back into the game for Barking Abbey.
This is why we love hoops. It's just a game of momentum. It's a game of runs. What a ball game we got here. Let's see if Charnwood can keep this rolling or if Barking can keep them at bay.
Sagner finds Lloyd into Dameron. Dameron finds Harris on the curl. Harris out to Sagner for free. In and out. And it's rebounded by Hughes. Adebayo is off to the races for Barking Abbey. Offensive foul called. That one's going to go on Adi Adebayo. His 4th personal foul. And Barking's 3rd again. They're getting close to the penalty already. And Hosanna Kitenge sprinting to the subs to get back in. As Bedford comes back in for Adebayo. And Barking now have Bedford, Brown and Adebayo all on 4 fouls.
There's 3 of their most talented guards. And we'll see if the other guys can step up. And
travel called on Kitenge. And if Charnwood can get this close, having those 3 guys on 4 fouls could be a decisive factor. Feeney screens Kitenge. Doesn't really do much though. It's a big boy you're trying to screen and move out the way. Bedford goes at Harris. Harris stays in front. Kitenge corrals the rebound. Belak leaking out. Can't gather the ball off the pass. Kapsulis into Hughes. Hughes travels. And Barking just need to bring themselves together and just compose themselves ever so slightly. They've not scored in 2.5 minutes since the start of the quarter, and just settle down. We're up, guys. We're not chasing the game. Sagner out to Belak for free. Belak in and out. And Charnwood are finding the looks too.
He's had a couple of those rim rattle and fall out. Well, he's definitely a young man that's not shy of shooting the 3-ball.
Feeney drives at Harris. On the floor, foul is called. That was on Niall Harris, his 3rd of the game. Barking's lead still at 14.
Barking still to score in this quarter. 7 minutes on the clock.
Barking will just get into 3 minutes here without a score. No need to get desperate. They have the lead, stay composed.
Belak comes up with a stop. Sagner at the other end. Easy 2. Barking's lead trimmed to 12. All right, Barking now do just need to compose themselves ever so slightly. They're not chasing the game. They have the upper hand. Oh, Kapsulis in the corner for free. No good. Kitenge comes down with the rebound. Sagner attacks the paint again. Blocked. Huge block by Miliauskas, who feeds Feeney. Feeney decides to pull it back out, makes the right decision for Barking, just settles them into their offense. Bedford loses the handle in the corner to Miliauskas. Float game. Float game's no good. And an offensive foul called on Theo Hughes. And if I'm head coach Lloyd Gardner, I'd probably be a little bit upset about the number of tip-tack fouls that are just being called at the moment, because some of these are 50-50 balls. And Gardner's cancelled a timeout, but has made the sub as Powell comes in and Hughes heads to the bench. So 12-point lead for Barking Abbey as they look to go back to back to back and win their 3rd consecutive EABL championship. Lloyd in the corner for free, no good. Rebounded by Harris, who gets it back to Lloyd. And foul called on Kapsulis.
Good cut there from Josh Lloyd. And even though the block itself on the ball was clean, I do think he came over the back over the top. So Josh Lloyd to the line for 2. And we try and trim it to a 10-point ball game.
And timeout called for Lloyd Gardner. Both coaches now with 2 timeouts left. Point lead, 6 minutes 6 left in the 4th quarter. We wanted a bit of a We wanted a close game. We wanted a to and fro affair, and Barking looked for a second they were going to run away with it during that third quarter on that huge 32-9 run. But since the start of the fourth, Charnwood holding to Barking to 0 points in 4 minutes. But Barking as well, credit to their defense at the other end. They've only given up, I think, 5 points to Charnwood in the quarter. 7 points to Charnwood, sorry, in the quarter. So both teams ramping up on the defensive end.
Well, we've had a tremendous day of finals here, and we're finishing off with the men's EABL championship game, and it definitely hasn't disappointed. A very close contested first half, and then the second half full of runs, and it will be a 11-point game.
Lloyd splitting his free throws at the line. Bedford on the ball for Barking Abbey. Beneath the 6-minute mark remaining in the game. Brown into Powell. Powell hands off to Brown. Lloyd does a pretty good job of staying in front, but Harris helps far too much off the corner. Rebounded by Bilak. Sagner 1-on-4. Decides to go at Bedford. Pulls back out to Harris. Harris gets his defender in the air. And Niall Harris is going to go to the line. Foul called on Robin Bedford. And I believe that'll be Bedford's 5th. So he heads to the bench. Kapsulis checks in for Barking Abbey. And Bedford visibly distraught on the bench. Teammate and assistant coach James Veer just having to try and control his emotions. You don't want to pick up a bench tech in this sort of moment when you're already up 10.
Again, it just goes to show how much all of this means to the guys, and you can see how...
And a foul called on Jonathan Brown, who that's his 5th, and he heads to the bench as he was holding Josh Lloyd on the rebound. And Brown reacts in exactly the same way. They've got to be careful, Barking. You don't want to pick up a technical foul in this sort of moment. And Stephen Akpan's going to check back in. We've not seen him since the first half. He's been icing his knee at the end of the bench. But
yeah, he looks like he's struggling to move, Akpan. And we'll see if Charnwood can exploit him a little bit in terms of sliding and making him move. But he definitely checked into the game with a limp.
And interesting that Lloyd Gardner not going with Adi Adebayo, who's still on 4 fouls. Because he doesn't want to lose him towards the end of the game. But with 5 minutes 30 left to go, at some point soon you've got to put your best player into the game. And a travel is called on Nathaniel Powell.
The glimmer of hope here. You can feel the shift in the room.
It's an 8-point ball game.
And that's two key players that have fouled out of the ball game for Barking.
Harris guarded by Akpan. Harris gets inside, doesn't make the layup. Kitenge gets the board, goes back up and makes it, flexes to the crowd. It's a 6-point ball game here at the University of Essex. Foul called on Blaise Sagner as he tried to get back in front of Chris Feeney, and that's the right call. Chris Feeney now looking to step up, probably the most experienced player on the floor for Barking Abbey. He just needs to compose his team. Feeney comes off the screen, goes back, crosses over against Bilak, gets inside, can't get the layup to go, rebounded by Kitenge. Kitenge playing point guard, finds Sagner, kicks to Lloyd in the corner. Lloyd short, and it's rebounded by Powell.
Oh boy, we're in for an entertaining last couple of minutes here.
Feeney penetrates, has to pick up the dribble, stepped out of bounds, and still Barking are yet to score in the quarter. As Adi Adebayo is going to check back in for Barking Abbey.
Yeah, right now it's a 13-0 run for Charnwood College.
Sagner on the ball, into Kitenge. Fakes the handoff. Now gets it to Sagner. Sagner drives baseline, goes up, tough take by Blaise Sagner. And it's a 4-point ball game with just over 4 minutes remaining. Adebayo penetrates, kicks out to Feeney. Travel called on Adi Adebayo. It'll be a baseline ball for Charnwood College. It's a 4-point ball game. Sagna. Into Kitenge. Kitenge chooses to go at Powell. Can't get the layup to go. Try to finish with his right. And Akpan, whilst trying to corral the rebound, throws it out of bounds. And Charnwood will get a second chance. Boy, oh boy, do we have a game on our hands here now at the University of Essex. Harris into Belak for three. Short, rebounded by Sagna. Foul called. And the foul is on Chris Feeney, his second personal. And so Sagna heads to the free throw line to shoot two.
Well, a huge comeback here from Charnwood, and this can trim it to a one-possession ball game here.
Sagna makes the first at the line. 3-point game, Barking lead. And the Charnwood fans have suddenly sprung into life the last couple of minutes over on the far side. Sagna makes them both. It's a one-possession ball game with 4 minutes remaining. Adebayo calling for the screen. Lloyd swarming Adebayo. Adebayo gets into the paint. Can't finish. Rebounded by Kitenge. Kitenge busts the double team. Playing point guard. Hosanna Kitenge. Offensive foul called on Hosanna Kitenge. Stephen Akpan doing a tremendous job putting his body on the line. And that's a fourth personal foul on Hosanna Kitenge. That could be a big foul.
Well, no wonder he's got
story of the game.
No wonder he's got a sore knee after taking a charge from the freight train.
So Barking again, still looking for their first points of the quarter. Adebayo has it. Kicks out to Kaptulis. Back to Adebayo. Powell up high. Powell wants to go at Kitenge. Body to body. Kitenge takes the contact. Rebounds the ball. Harris inside, up and under, ties us up at 63 apiece.
Ay, 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 what a run. Barking unable to score in 7 minutes of hoops. Can they find something here?
Adebayo penetrates, lane cut off by Josh Lloyd. Backs back out with the mismatch. Lloyd keeps him in front. Adebayo loses the ball. Lloyd comes up with it, and Harris has an opportunity. Finds Kitenge on the rim run for two.
Massive run from Charnwood. Takes it to a 17-0 run.
And head coach Lloyd Gardner taking the timeout just to compose himself. Assistant coach James Veer wanting to speak to the referees, but having none of it. And Lloyd Gardner in this timeout is going to be telling his team, guys, we just need to settle down. We need to find easy, good looks around the rim. It looks like they're trying to go a little bit too much one-on-one. They have those opportunities when they do to kick out for open shots, and trust in your jump shooters. Feeney's now hit a couple. Kapsulas has hit a couple. Maybe we get those guys going a little bit, but they've got to stay composed. And they've got to start getting a couple stops, and then they've got to see the ball go through the rim.
Yeah, there was a number of turnovers and empty trips within those possessions there, so you got to make sure this last 2:41, both teams, you got to make sure that you actually get a shot off. Try and find the best quality shot, the highest percentage shot available. Comes down to composure here the last couple minutes. You got to try and avoid a ton of 1v1 action unless it's a clear advantage situation. Oh boy, what a game. You talk about runs. 19-0 run right now for Charnwood. Can Barking Abbey respond? It would be a good time to respond.
Adebayo has the ball for Barking Abbey, guarded by Harris. Switched on to Lloyd. Adebayo pulls up from deep. No good. Sagna comes down with the rebound. Harris. And a jump ball called as Harris was stripped and tripped. And it's going to be a Barking possession. Feeney to inbound for Barking Abbey.
Barking possession side right. Feeney's going to play in.
Adebayo on the ball.
Whichever way it goes, this has been a fantastic encounter.
Kapsulis. Back to Adebayo. Uses the screen. Goes at Kitenge. Offensive foul called on Ade Adebayo. And that's his 5th foul of the game. So Ade Adebayo is going to head to the bench for Barking Abbey.
Wow, that is big time stuff. Probably their best playmaking guard heads to the bench. Charnwood feeling it right now. Hosanna Kitenge getting the crowd into it. A lot of fans a little disappointed with that call. Level of misbelief. Well, here we go. Last 2 minutes. 2-point ball game.
Harris has it. Drives. Left-handed layup. Niall Harris for 2. And stolen away by Josh Lloyd. And puts it in. Charnwood lead by 6.
My goodness.
Kapsulis drives at Bilak. Nowhere to go. Picks up his dribble. Skip pass across to Miliauskas. Miliauskas drives. No good. Kitenge comes up with the ball. And the Charnwood coaching staff are screaming at them to slow it down a little bit, find a good look.
This is a 21-0 fourth quarter right now.
Kitenge has the ball, guarded by Powell. Harris in the corner, 6 on the shot clock. Harris is fouled.
That'll be 2 shots.
Niall Harris will head to the line to shoot 2. 1 minute 16 left on the game clock. Charnwood lead by 6. And you see there, assistant coach Krumesh Patel in the huddle. He's more animated than Will Maynard, having just come off the back of 1 WEABL win. Harris at the line makes his first. Charnwood lead is 7. Make that 8. Charnwood lead by 8 with 1:16 to go.
They also have a foul to give, so they can remain pretty aggressive.
Feeney gets inside, can't make the layup. It's rebounded by Kitenge. Kitenge ahead to Lloyd. Harris has the ball. Back to Lloyd. Charnwood playing keep ball at the moment. And Harris is fouled, so Harris will go to the line to shoot 2.
Oh my goodness, what a fourth quarter from Charnwood. There was a moment, Barking made a huge run, and you could see from the body language of the Charnwood guys, they were very deflated. The energy got sucked out, but boy, what a response. The fourth quarter here, 25-0. Barking Abbey struggling to find a hoop.
Harris misses it, tipped out by Bilak. And you may or may not be able to see the top of everybody's head on this side of the gym as both sides of the arena are stood up. Charnwood getting ready to celebrate. At the other end, the Barking Abbey fans on our side of the gym all stood up in disbelief at the moment. And we have a timeout called by Charnwood College. So, Charnwood leads 72-63, 47.7 left to go in the ball game. Charnwood, as Mark says, have held Barking Abbey scoreless for this quarter while scoring 28 points of their own.
Oh, look at that. If you look at this second half, the third quarter, a 32-9 in favor of Barking Abbey. And they've gone completely opposite way round here at 28-0. Woo. And it's with 47 seconds remaining. It's looking very much like it will be the double for Charnwood College here. With the women's already winning the WEABL. It looks like the men's are going to win here unless Barking Abbey can pull something out of the bag here.
Bilak has the ball and he's fouled by Akpan. Unsportsmanlike foul is called. And so Bilak will go to the line to shoot 2, and then Charnwood will get the ball back. And boos ring out across the arena. Bilak makes both the free throws, and Charnwood's lead out to 11.
And there was some chant there from some of the fans in the front row. Bilak sinks both, and that's a gesture back.
Kitenge inbounds to Sagna. Sagna fouled, and it's Akpan that makes the foul. That'll be his fourth. And it's going to look like Charnwood are going to hold Barking scoreless for the entire fourth quarter as Blaise Sagna misses his first at the line. Sagna makes his second, and timeout called by Lloyd Gardner. Charnwood's lead at 12, 43 seconds left. Can't see it going any other way than Charnwood's now.
What a turnaround. What a turnaround.
And so I guess we get to that point, Mark, where, as we have done in the other games, who's been your standout performer of the game? Taylor the tape, looking at the stats, Niall Harris would jump out with 17 points, 5 rebounds and 8 assists, along with 3 steals. But also big performances from Hosanna Kitenge with 13 points, 16 rebounds.
Yeah, but a very shared production for Charnwood. Multiple players in double digits. 4 out of their 5 starters in double digits. 16 for Bilak, 16 for Sagna, 17 for Harris, 13 for Kitenge. But right now the stat stuffer has been Niall Harris across the board. A whopping 8 assists, getting his teammates involved and finding them. But they have to finish the job here. 43 seconds to go.
They do, and it's stolen away by Kitenge. Outlet pass to Bilak at the other end. And Bilak's just going to try and take time off as Feeney fouls.
The stewards are trying to hold back the Charnwood girls team and fellow teammates for the boys program. And they're ready to storm the court.
I mean, they started a couple of minutes ago with one of the material banners to hold them back, and it's obviously not worked. So now they've drafted in the stewards, but it looks like they've given up as well. And Bilak misses them both. It's rebounded by Powell. Akpan comes up with it. Akpan advances, finds Miliauskas, who shoots the free. No good. Rebounded by Feeney. Feeney pulls back to the three-point line. He's no good. And rebounded by Sagna. And with less than 24 seconds on the clock, Charnwood are just going to dribble the ball out. And the fans in the crowd over on the other side of the floor are getting ready to storm the court as Charnwood have put in one of the most improbable comebacks I think we've seen in EABL history to take the 18-19 EABL championship. And that's what it means to the